Hello Genshin crew, thank you for clicking on the video. Today, we're going to be talking about the 5.3 banners, at least for the first half, and we'll talk about the weapon banner as well, so let's get to it. Alrighty, so, of course, this is before the release of the Fire Archon. Any and all footage that I show and display here, I will put the source to. Now, the Fire Archon is a crazy strong damage dealer, or mavuika. I'm terrible pronunciation. I'm just gonna call her the Fire Archon Mav, like Maverick. She's a Maverick. So anyway, the Fire Archon is insanely busted, insanely strong. Probably, I've been told she is amongst the top, if not the top damage dealer in the game.
You what?
Which means she can scale as high as Nouvelette can with her damage output. Now, of course, just like when people make those calculations, it's typically with their signature weapon, and her signature weapon is busted, and we'll get to it. So she can provide both on-field and off-field support. She is basically like a jacked up Zhang Ling. So when you test her out before you pull on her, just make sure you understand she's got two stages, right? So you can tap the E, and I believe it brings up the ring like Raiden, and that provides off-field pyro application. Or you can hold E, which takes her in the motorbike stage with the new hair, and then you can just do a bunch of crazy bop 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 stuff with her. Okay, so I'm gonna be pulling for her, and if we do well, then I'm gonna try to get her weapon as well. But that's me. I understand even when she's not in Natland, she's not gonna be able to fly as long on the bike, and that's totally fine with me. And also, her kit is weird. She doesn't really need energy recharge. What she needs, she uses Fighting Spirit, which deals normal attack with either her or another DPS or sub DPS. And the Fighting Spirit, as you collect Fighting Spirit, it goes into her burst. You can crack her burst at 50%, or you can crack it all the way up to 100%. Obviously 100% you do more damage, which I'm sure some people will like, and I'm sure some people will not like. But again, she's going to be crazy strong. She's a jacked up Zhang Ling. If you don't mind the motorbike, you're going to have a lot of fun with her, as I'm going to have a lot of fun with her. Now, for these 4 stars here, let's take a gander. Kachina, not really a crazy strong unit. She does add to the construct count. And while in Natland, you'll get to climb mountains and stuff far more easily than you would anywhere else. And except for that example, that was
embarrassing.
So now you can deal damage with this cutesy little thing. You know, bop, 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 and that causes your crystallized reactions, which is really good. And she can feed into the Night Soul. So if you have her on a kind of like a free-to-play team with the new Fire Archon, she can help you provide the Night Soul points. That way your Fire Archon can work up the Fighting Spirit more and do more damage. However, she is a Geo kind of sub DPS. She's not super used in basically any hardcore team comp, but she's super cute. If you like the story, if you like her dancing and all that stuff, then you're more than welcome to go for her. She wants the Natland scrolls just like most of the other Natland characters. Kachina constellations, they're kind of lackluster. Her C4 grants the active character increased defense, so you can use her on other Geo teams to help buff your Geo attackers. Your C6, Kachina deals an additional 200% when the character's active shield is replaced or destroyed. Those two, probably the ones that are most important. C2 deals with getting Night Soul points, which can be good if you're going to use her for the Fire Archon team, okay? And then C1 stores a little bit of energy as you pick up the Crystallize. So, yeah, they all kind of do stuff. Again, Kachina, not really crazy strong. However, one good thing about her kit is her weapon is a free-to-play craftable. I'm not sure if I've made it yet. Yes, I have made it. Footprint of the Rainbow. Using an elemental skill increases defense by 16% for 15 seconds. So this is like one of her, if not her best in slot weapon, and it's a free craftable weapon for Natland. So if you want to use your if you want to use her, craft this weapon. Super easy. She'll do what she can do, and you'll have some fun with her. Now, Diona, definitely underrated. Embarrassing. Just like any other 4-star supports, she's one of the ones that you could use Favonius or Sacrificial Bow. So I typically run her on Sacrificial Bow. That way I have a chance to use her E twice. So Diona is a cryo shielder and healer, and you could also make her a cryo battery, which means you can use her attacks to generate cryo particles to give to someone else. Now, if you want her to generate colorless particles, then you can switch over from the Sacrificial Bow to your Favonius Bow. Your Favonius Bow, you stack up her crit rate, and then you have those colorless energy particles that you can give to any teammate. Or you put her on Sacrificial, and you can give her cryo particles to a cryo DPS like Ayaka or Eula.
Quick, under the umbrella, or you'll get soaked.
I've used her on a team with Eula, even in the Spiral Abyss. So her shield is not crazy strong, and she scales off of HP. I have her on 4-piece Noblesse, and these pieces are, you know, like this one's cracked. So HP, crit damage, not really super usable for Diona, but it is what it is. All right, so Diona, the ones that you need to look out for, C2 increases her shield absorption, and C6 cranks up your EM and increases incoming healing by 30% when the HP of the party member falls below 50%. Okay, does that make sense? Increases by 30% when they're lower than 50%. All right, so Diona, you can tap her E to get a small shield and a small collection of energy, and the E will respawn faster, a smaller cooldown. Or you can hold the E, cough cough help me, what the heck, who's doing that? And you send a far stronger shot. The shield will be stronger, it lasts longer, and you'll get more energy. Alright, so my Diona. Alright, so that is Diona. It heals for 4,000 a tick, and it ticks about 7 times, I think. See if I can hurt my Diona a little bit. Okay, too much. Alright, now compared to Bennett, see how much he heals. 4,836. 4, 5, okay, so 4, yeah, because Bennett heals up to 70%. Alright, so, just in case you were unaware, Bennett, an insanely powerful buffer and healer. So if you have a new account, both Diona and Bennett will do you a lot of good. Diona helped me quite a bit, especially in the Spiral Abyss. Now, for me, I have all these 5 stars and stuff. I just put the prototype ranker on it because the effect doesn't matter. Your buff only comes from the base attack, which is his leveling and his weapon, which is why they recommend for Bennett you take him all the way to 90. For Bennett, you want as high energy recharge as you can because you want him to burst as often as possible. Now I have him on 4-piece Noblesse. Remember, 4-piece Noblesse is only good for one person. Do not run 4-piece Noblesse on multiple members of the same team. They do not stack. For example, if you were going to use Diona and Bennett on the same team, I would put Bennett as the 4-piece Noblesse user, and Diona, she is very simple kit. You could do 2-piece Noblesse, 2-piece Tenacity, sure. You don't have any good energy recharge bows, you can do 2-piece Emblem if you're super desperate. Blizzard Destroyer, you know, I don't actually think you should run Cryo here because the hit with her E is not going to be that big of a deal. So Maiden Beloved does work, and so does Tenacity. So remember, she scales off of HP. So anyway, for Bennett, 4-piece Noblesse is good. And there's a couple different ways you can run him. For me, since I have him on a weapon that does not have energy recharge, I made sure that his timestamp does have energy recharge. For me, I run energy recharge, HP % goblet, with a crit rate crit damage helmet. Now, there's kind of a flex. There's kind of a, you could do HP healing bonus. You could do ER HP. You could do ER HP healing bonus. Okay, it'll kind of be up to you. Obviously, healing bonus, more healing, less attack boost. Crit rate, crit damage, HP, more attack boost, less healing. So you'll have to figure out for you what works best for his supportive role. Now, one big thing for Bennett is his C6 application that people are still people have finally come around to the idea that the C6 is not that bad. But the C6 infusion, so what his C6 does is pull sword, claymore, or polearm wielding characters inside his Q, gain a 15% pyro damage bonus, and their weapons are infused with pyro. Now, there are a lot of things that say nowadays cannot be overridden, or this element cannot be overridden. The reason an ability might say that is because his C6. Now, he doesn't really mess with that many teams anymore. He messes with any physical damage carries and some cryo damage carries. So, Ayaka, Eula, and Kachina are the top 3 that he messes with if he has his C6 active. If you don't use Eula, if you only use other characters with your Ayaka, and...
What was even that third one?
Oh, Kachina. And Kachina's best team now is Aggravate, or maybe even Hyper Boom, but probably Aggravate. If none of that bothers you, then his C6 is strictly better for any Pyro teams. So any leading Diluc, it works with the Archon, so it'll buff the Pyro Archon's abilities, and any Pyro damage main carry. And the reason I haven't activated yet is because I do use him with Eula still. But I also don't like the fact that this cuts off possible support for another character down the road. Now, they don't really like releasing physical carries anymore, especially good ones. But I just don't like the idea of, oh, well, since you did that, then all of a sudden he's not good for XYZ anymore, even though the list is small. So it's not that big of a deal. I'm just an old man and I'm stubborn. Bennett, a god tier unit, one of the best units in the game for support, probably the best 4-star unit support in the game. If you're a younger account, get him. If you're an older account and you don't have him all the way, at least get the C5. C1, huge increase, because at first the attack increase does have an HP restriction. C1 takes that away. This one I didn't even really know. If Bennett's HP falls below 70%, his energy recharge is increased by 30%. So you actually kind of want him lower than 70 to keep his energy recharge up. That's pretty cool. C4 useless. C1 really good. C2 can be good if you use it. And C6 is good if you use it. But his C1's the big one. His C1 is the big one that unlocks his potential. Okay, cool. So, I hope that wasn't too scrambled for you. I am just recovering from being horrendously sick over the holidays. I was sick for almost 2 weeks. So, now, Citlali. Again, any footage that I use, I will quote the source. Citlali is a small shielder. Now, the shield isn't super strong. She's a shielder, and she buffs Pyro and Hydro units. So she buffs basically your melts and your forward melts and your vape comps. Now, she does cryo off damage support, and the cryo application is pretty good. So she's being compared with to Kaya and Rosaria, but her AoE is better. She has a lot of people really excited about her kit. There has been a lot of talk of her being part of some of the strongest teams, especially with the Fire Archon. Oh, I forgot to mention, Citlali scales off of Elemental Mastery, which is weird. However, since she scales off of Elemental Mastery, that's why she's crazy, awesome, and supportive for the burst teams, Reverse Melt, Forward Melt, and the Vape teams. So it is unfortunate they're releasing 2 brand new characters. You're gonna have to kind of pick. Don't be pressured to swipe. The characters will come back. Everyone's gonna get caught up in the hype, and as soon as we move from Natlan, most of these units aren't going to shine as brightly because they're going to be pushing new units with new exploration abilities in the new place, and people are going to forget all about Natlan's hardcore exploration abilities. Spend responsibly. It's just a game. These characters will be coming back. So, all right. So, let's talk about these weapons. So again, remember, Weapon banner is a scam. Don't feel pressured to buy these things if you don't want them. However, this Claymore is insane. 1,000 Blazing Suns Claymore. I don't know why I switched to that accent. Significantly increases attack and crit damage. Now, it only has 11% crit rate. Yes, I know, 11% crit rate. Not that much. Right? That is not a lot. Base attack, insanely high, 741. And listen to this nonsense. Gain the Scorching Brilliance effect. When using an elemental skill or burst, your crit damage is increased by 20%, and attack percent is increased by 28% for 6 seconds. You can only trigger once every 10 seconds. And while the Scorching Brilliance instance is active, the duration is increased by 2 seconds after normal and charged attacks deal elemental damage. Additionally, when the equipping character is in the Night Soul Blessing states, the effects are increased by 75 freaking percent. I can't even begin to put the math together on how busted this Claymore is. Even if the character does not use Night Soul, it's still a crazy good Claymore. Again, the weapon banner is a scam. You do not need this. I'm sure if you look at the numbers, this is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be 12% better. It might be like 15-20% better. But again, if you have a Wolf's Gravestone and you want to save the Primos, save the Primos, okay?
But good lord, they cooked with this thing, and they cooked hard.
If you lose the 50-50 and you get the Catalyst that is meant for Citlali, increases elemental damage and active characters damage. So EM 265. So increases EM by 100. You gain the Mirror Knight effect within 15 seconds of the equipping character, creating a shield. Or hold on. Gain the mirror effect within 15 seconds after the equipping character creates a shield. Okay. The current active party member gains 28% increased damage to nearby opponents, and you get this once every 14 seconds. Now, this one does not strike me nearly as busted. If you have other EM catalysts, even Thrilling Tales, the 3-star, compares closely to this. So do not feel pressured to buy this one especially. Now, let's talk about these 4-stars. These 4-stars are crazy. If you're a newer account, this is a weapon banner I would recommend that you pull on, even if you just have 2 10 pulls. Well, I will say I recommend you pull on this if you understand that you're getting weapons instead of characters, right? Although sometimes you can get characters. Stringless, amazing good support, especially if you have Fischl. This is an EM bow. This wonderful sword, sacrificial sword, god tier unit, especially as you get to higher refinements. Favonius Lance, probably one of the best pole arms in the game. Favonius Codex, crazy good catalyst, gives you energy recharge. Lithic the Lithic Claymore is the only one here that's like meh. But if you're winning on 4 out of the 5 4-stars on a weapon banner, that's huge. These 4 are crazy good, especially if you don't have any. Just doing a couple like cheeky singles to try to get yourself a sacrificial sword, Favonius Lance. I mean, just any of these, crazy good. And if you get super lucky and you get an early 5-star, even better. To reiterate, do not feel pressured to swipe on this. I understand it's frustrating. The free wishes don't come until 5.3 phase 2, which is when we have the second phase of the banners. Why, for the life of me, they did not give us the free wishes when we have 2 new units on the banner that a lot of people have been really excited for? I don't know. Maybe they secretly hate us. So spend responsibly. Remember, these characters are going to come back around. If you miss them this time around, it's okay. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below if you feel like this helped you. And I will catch you guys in the next one. I'll be releasing a couple funny collab videos with me and friends here soon. And hoping to have more Genshin stuff. I'll release a wishing video, of course. Let's see how I did. And I'll keep more stuff coming up as I can. So take care, stay well, and enjoy the New Year's.